Okay, moving on to page 2 now. I put up my regular answer key because I just write neater on paper than on my Chromebook. So the steps for factoring. Now we practiced finding the GCF. Now we're going to factor using the GCF. Pause the video, copy down these steps, and then start playing it while I go through them. So step number 1, we have to find the GCF like we did on page 1. And then we're going to put it in front of parentheses. Step 2, we're going to divide each term by the GCF. And then step 3, we're going to write our leftovers inside the parentheses. And then a little note to remember from our previous packet. When we divide the big numbers and subtract the exponents. So make sure you have this written down before you go forward on the video. Now we're going to work on some of these together. This is my blank copy. Dun, dun, dun. So for exercise 3, it says write each polynomial below as a factored expression involving the greatest common factor of each polynomial. So remember, terms are separated by plus signs and minus signs. So I have one term here and one term here. And this line right here is just the cursor, my word cursor. So let's look at our big numbers, our coefficients. We have a 6 and a 10. So you say to yourself, what's the biggest number that divides into 6 and 10? Well, in this case, it's a 2. And now let's look at our x's. We have an x squared and an x to the 1. We did biggest number, now we got to do smallest exponent, which is x to the 1. This right here is our GCF. So our directions, they put the GCF in front of, not writing GCF. We have to put our GCF in front of the parentheses. So we got 2x. Okay. Here's our parentheses. So now to find out what goes in here, let me bring down, we have a plus sign, so I'm going to bring down that plus sign. We're going to do little division problems. 6x squared divided by 2x to the 1. Well, when you divide those things, 6 divided by 2 is 3. Subtract your x exponents and you get 3x to the 1. Do the same thing here. 10x divided by 2x. 10 divided by 2 is 5. And then those guys cancel out. This is our factored form. What we just did was factoring using the GCF. All right, so for letter B, we're going to do the same thing. We have a 3x minus 24. Biggest number that goes into both of these is a 3. Now this one's a little different. In this case, I cannot take out an x. There's no x there, only in the first term. So our GCF is actually just a 3. And then when I divide my terms, 3x divided by 3, we're just left with an x. And 24 divided by 3 is 8. So sometimes you can take letters out, sometimes you can't. We are going to skip around now, and then you're going to go back and fill in the blanks. I would like to do D and E, and then you'll do the rest on this page. So let me just get there here. For letter D, this is what we call a trinomial. There's 3 terms. Remember, we're separating things by plus and minus signs. So now to find the GCF, you have to find out what goes into each term. So we have 4x squared plus 8x plus 24. Well, I know I can take a 4 out of each one of these. You can also take out a 2, but the biggest number you can take out is a 4. So, and I cannot take out an x. I have an x squared, an x to the 1, but there's no x in the last term. So the only thing I can take out in all 3 is a 4. So now I'm just going to kind of set this up. I'm going to bring down my 2 plus signs with some space in between. And now I'm going to do my little division problems. 4x squared divided by 4. Those 4's cancel and you're left with x squared. 8x divided by 4. Well, we know 8 divided by 4 is 2. Bring down the x. And the last 24 divided by 4 is 6. So we just factored. It's kind of like it's backwards distribution. That's really what we're doing here. Okay, the last one we're going to do together before I cut you loose and have you finish the rest of this page is letter E. So we have our 3 terms. Pause this for a sec and try to figure out what the GCF is on your own. So here, the biggest number we can take out of each term is a 2, and the smallest exponent that's in each term is an x to the 1. So my GCF is 2x, and now I'm going to bring this down. I'm going to bring down this minus sign and bring down this plus sign right there. And I'll just get to it. We're going to divide each term. 6x to the third divided by 2x to the 1 gives you 3x squared. 8x squared divided by 2x to the 1 is 4x. Now this is tricky. 2x divided by 2x. It doesn't just go away. Remember, when you divide, when things cancel, you end up with a 1. So if everything cancels out, you still have to put a 1 for a placeholder. That's super important. So pause the video, work on the rest of the problems on page 2, and then come back when you're done and check your work. Okay, we have done A, B, D, and E together. So check C and F. For C, my GCF was 5x. And for F, the GCF was 5x squared. And then down here, the third row, we didn't do any of these. So check those as well. The GCF for letter G was 10. Put my leftovers in parentheses. GCF for letter H was 2x squared. And the GCF for I was 8x to the 1. Please let us know if you have any questions. Remember, everything in math builds on itself. So if you have questions, the sooner the better. And work on your homework, pages 3 and just page 3. Wow, you guys got lucky. I'll see you next time.